Hello and good evening everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Unfortunately though, over the last couple of days there are two people who are not doing so well, and in fact today is a very dark day for free speech. You said of course it is because about your shadow. Shut up you! I'm not that bad! How fucking big do you think I am? But no, it is a very, very bad day for freedom of speech. It's also a very, very bad day a few days ago, or however long ago it was, for one, and I'm probably going to butcher the name, Iryna Zerustka, a white... Great start, isn't it? Stroke number one, a white Ukrainian migrant who came over for the slice of American pie, who unfortunately the only slice she got was from a knife from a racist black man. And how do we know he was racist? Well, he was even seen point blank on CCTV saying, "I got the white girl." Nice, huh? But apparently we're the racist because we're white and we exist. I think a lot of us would agree that the real racists are over on the left. But we'll talk more about that later. And it's only through Twitter, through Elon Musk, that we were actually able to hear this story. If Twitter was still owned by the left-wing Silicon Valley... Fucking damn it, stroke number two. The left-wing Silicon Valley techies, then we would still never hear about this shit. This is not a good start. 90 seconds, 2 strokes. Oh, I can tell this one is not going to be a good day for me. But we know how the left-wing Silicon Valley tech groups like to operate. They like to operate by censoring us while allowing T's to run rampant. And the left would have been also allowed, well, they still are, to be fair. They're glorifying what's happened to someone else. In the exact same manner they would have been glorifying it if Donald Trump had his 3 trial of life ended. But let's play a game, shall we? Let's play role reversal. Well, I don't really need to do much. I've got a banging set of tits already. Anyway, let's play role reversal. Let's say it was a white man or a white woman stabbing a black man on that bus. Let's say that for the sake of convenience. How long do you think it would take for the mainstream media to start reporting it? Because unlike what's happened to this Ukrainian, God rest her soul, they would have been all over it in an instant. If the truth had gotten out there that a black man had just been stabbed and slashed to death, and the white person went, "I got the black person," this would have been national news, just like that. They would have plastered it all over our TVs as an emergency broadcast. They'd be saying it's the far right. They'd be saying it's those racists again. And basically, we wouldn't hear the end of it. But because it was a white woman, a white Ukrainian migrant, that got stabbed and slashed by a black man, we hear nothing of it from the mainstream media. And they wonder why we don't trust them. Mind you, the mainstream media usually can't read the elephant in the room. No, it's not me. Shut it. They're usually as capable of reporting the news as I am as capable of eating a bowl of salad, quite frankly. Oh, barely burst this time. Well, that makes a change. Anyway, the fact is, the oligarchy and the mainstream media don't dare report about the fact that there is a racist black man who's going around cutting up white people. It always speaks volumes when you see the left constantly inciting violence against its opponents. But the oligarchies, they never want to put out the statistics of the individuals who are inciting this violence, who are inciting that hatred, who are effectively calling for our lives to be cut short. But I guarantee you, if any of us said the same thing about the left, there would be 100 coppers at our door ready to drag us out of our homes, kicking and screaming, into the gulag of Keir the traitor Starmer. The left may forget about her. Hell, that racist who stabbed her. Well, it turns out he was a prolific offender as well. So I think Trump is actually pressing for federal charges on this one. And they're seeking the death penalty. Quite rightly too. It's about time that America took out the trash. And he is certainly one big piece of fucking trash, let me tell you. But the sad thing is, the lefties will still find me more in the wrong than that racist who stabbed that girl to death. Because I dare to call out his demographic. Because I dare to call him what he is. A piece of trash. In fact, frankly, I'm being very kind right now. I could call him all manners of different things. That would be more appropriate, I would say, for someone of his stature. But out of respect for myself and a matter of principle, I am keeping that to myself. I hope that the family of Iryna Zerustka are able to move on from this. I hope that they can get some closure when this specimen is hopefully sentenced to death. I personally think it should be via electric chair, so he feels a bit of pain before he goes. But that's just me. And I hope that America will become a better place once they dispose of this trash. But there is one person who is still running rampant. A transgender assassin. That's right. They're at it again. Isn't it funny? There was somebody who was transgender who ended up shooting a bunch of people in America. Now there's another one. And this time it's far more serious, as this one has assassinated one Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was a family man who stood for freedom of speech and family values. Wife and 2 kids he's left behind. All because the be kind lot on the left side decided they weren't going to be so kind to Charlie Kirk and delivered him a round that would end his free trial of life. The tolerant left. And you remember what I said earlier? They were glorifying his death. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me. It doesn't suit the narrative. The left was sitting there when Charlie had his life cut short. They were sitting there celebrating his death. The scum on the left, because that's what they are, and I don't care what people think. I don't care if they're offended. I don't care if there's a snowflake driver who wants to come up and have a go at me, quite frankly. But if you're sitting there glorifying the death of an individual, whether it be left, right, or centre, you are scum, pure and simple. You are just as bad as the maggot who took his life. You may as well be the murderous scumbag, because if you're calling or celebrating for the death of people who don't agree with your narrative, your line of thinking, your globalist Marxist agenda, then you are no better than the people who've done the acts themselves. There are people that I fucking hate the guts of. Keir the Traitor Starmer, David the Archbishop of Racism Lammy, Ricky Jones, we've got Sadiq Khan, we've got John Major, we've got, Alistair Campbell, just to name a few. I hate all of them. Do I want them dead? No, of course I don't. You know why? Because I have fucking principles. I do think that a few of them should stand trial and then face death by hanging after being found guilty of treason. But there's a big difference between that and just glorifying for someone's murder because they don't agree with your views. It honestly astonishes me how disrespectful, how intolerant, and how much projection the left do. It honestly astonishes me. It's incredible how they can still think they can keep the moral high ground while preaching for the death of people that they don't like. And the same be kind lot who were sitting there saying, oh, Trump's going to start World Blank 3 with Russia, and then he was sitting there calling for peace, and then the leftists still complained. Nothing we do will ever be good for them. Nothing we do will appease them. They are like a school of piranha. If you give them a piece of meat, if you try to give them a finger as an offering, they won't stop at your finger. They'll dissolve your entire fucking body. They will effectively destroy you in your entirety. They will not be content until you are absolutely obliterated. This is why You can never pander to the left. Never give in to the left. Never compromise with the left. They say they're the be kind lot. Well, they seem about as kind as a hyena in heat. But before I go any further, if I can get the bit of paper, because I had to write this down because I knew I'd forget. Anyway, there's something I saw on Twitter from somebody I follow who goes by the username, I think it's Patriotic Nation, under Hooded Claw, I believe his name is. But I want to read this so that you can understand where people like us are coming from, because this fits this scenario perfectly. We want Starmer out. You want Trump dead. We want T's hunted down. You support them. Patriots loved Charlie Kirk because he was a family man who stood for human rights. You loved George Floyd, a career criminal, because of his ethnicity. We want to stop racially motivated mass R of our kids. You want to protect the perpetrators. We want to educate our kids to be proud of their country. You want to teach them to hate it. We want to work, have a house, a car, kids, and a holiday. You want to destroy society, sponge off others, and see everyone in abject poverty. You are a cancer, and you have been brainwashed by communists and Islamists to be hate-filled little sheep who stand for the destruction of everything that is good about the West. Tell me that does not fit the scenario perfectly. So I do want to give a shout out to Hooded Claw on Twitter for that. Great guy. If I can, I'll try and find that tweet, link it in the description below so you can read it for yourself, because it really does describe this whole shit show to a T. It really does describe the left in a nutshell. We want to be able to live in peace. We want to have justice where we can hunt down people who threaten our society, while the lefties want to protect those who are a threat to our society. We have people who actively want to harm our kids, or do the most unimaginable thing to our kids. And the left would rather protect their human rights and the people who are invading this country than they even care about themselves or their own indigenous citizens. They would rather protect the enemies who basically want to destroy us. Hell, if there was another world blank and there was another person like that dictator that was far left from Germany who started a world blank by invading Poland, if there was another one of those, it wouldn't surprise me if these traitors, these scumbags, went out of their way to go and join them just to destroy us. Or, worse still, they would actively sabotage us to stop us from defending ourselves. Charlie Kirk could have been a potential president of America. He certainly could have continued on when Trump has left this world, and I would prefer it to be peacefully rather than somebody attempting to shoot his bloody head off with a rifle. Like I said, the left glorify violence against us. We might hate the guts of the people on the left, or the people in the oligarchies who are actively sabotaging our countries. But have we, at any point, wished for death upon somebody? Have we ever wished for somebody like Keir the traitor Starmer to be physically hurt? Anybody that tries to say yes, I dare you to look through all 580 fucking videos I have right now and tell me you found a piece of evidence, because I assure you right now, you won't find a single piece of evidence that says I actively want to see these people harmed. Because here's the thing about me, And you can say it with me. I'm not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm going to say it exactly how it is, and I will do my best not to bullshit you. Those two lovely people had their lives extinguished by vermin who have no respect for their countries, who have no respect for other people, and are the real racists when the lefties are only capable of crying it. And even then, it's usually when they're losing an argument, they resort to throwing name tags, because that's all they're bloody capable of. Name tag throwing, like frisbees. Well, let me tell you something. Frisbees can be caught, and they can be sent back to sender. Or sorry, returned to sender. Only these ones have an Uno reverse card to show you up for what you really are. The real racists, the projectors, the tosspots, the wankers, the absolute scum that would wish harm on another human being. I hope they find the assassin of Charlie Kirk as soon as possible. I hope they find the vermin that killed this migrant. And I do sincerely hope that we're going to find some robust justice dealt to those people who would do even migrants harm. And you know what? There is actually one last thing I need to include on that. This is going to shock you. This girl who got killed actually has a Black Lives Matter poster in her home. That's right. A Black Lives Matter supporter who is white was butchered by a black man. Let that sink in. The black supremacist group literally kills one of their own supporters. Because I'm pretty sure this individual would like to think that black lives do matter. And the fact that he was willing to say, the white girl's dead, says it all, doesn't it? Now, I'm not a fan of Black Lives Matter, but there is no way in God's earth I would say anything as reprehensible as Iryna Zerustka got what she deserved. She did not deserve that. She did not deserve to die like that. The look on her face is enough to make anybody just recoil in absolute disgust at the mere sight of this beast who went to town on her with a knife. It is sickening, it is disgusting, it is abhorrent in every single manner. I want justice done to that maggot who killed her, and I also want justice for the person who killed Charlie Kirk. Federal charges, hang the pair of them, or electric chair them, I don't care, as long as they are both gone for their crimes. But there is something else, that what these two events have unfurled, there is something else we need to consider. Think about it. We've had 7 AFD members turn up dead, conveniently. We've had a potential future Prime Minister assassinated. We've had a Ukrainian migrant who wanted a better life in America butchered by left-wingers, by trans activists. What's stopping them from doing the same here in the UK? And I know that's not a nice thing to say, but the cold, bitter truth is, this has to be accepted as a very, very real possibility. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying it most definitely can happen. And the one thing you have to remember, yes, we do have some of the strictest gun control laws in the United Kingdom, but I'm telling you right now, no matter what weapons you ban, no matter what drugs you ban, if you ban something, people are just going to go underground. I won't say we see shootings on an absolutely regular basis here in the UK, but what I will say is they are semi-frequent, at least. We see it semi-frequently across the country. Thank you. And I reckon, given enough time, given enough patience, given some people have infiltrated before. If they worked hard enough, if they had the right connections, if they were able to blend in well enough, I reckon something like that could happen on the day. I know it's a horrible thing to say, I know it's a horrible thing to suggest, but the cold bitter truth is, now that we've seen these 3 things pop up, we have to take the possibility, the threat, the potential of this happening very, very seriously. Hell, back in the 2000s or the 2010s, there was a plot to basically boom the EDL. And no, I'm not talking about Basil Brush. Anyway, there was a plot to boom the EDL by a group of extremist Islamist people. That was back in 2010. What do you think the possibility of that happening in 2025 is? As I said, it's very, very possible. So I'm going to put this message directly to Tommy Robinson. Whatever security you've got right now for this event on the 13th, double it. And I am deadly serious when I say that. I wish I had the money to help chip in. I really do. I really wish that I hadn't made stupid decisions in my life where I could then say, yeah, you know what? Now I can help you because I've actually been smart. But I think we need more security for Tommy Robinson. Because think about it. Okay, he's not future Prime Minister material, but there is one thing Tommy Robinson is, and that is a hero of the United Kingdom. And one of the best ways the left have of ensuring a civil blank is started, yeah, you guessed it, assassinate Tommy. Another scenario to think about is what happened when Al-Muhajirun, a proscribed T group, a proscribed Islamic T group, one house got raided. They found a sniper rifle with tracer rounds. This is the same group that Anjem Choudary was convicted on as basically heading the movement of it. He was effectively the leader of that group. So it begs the question, what's the possibility of that happening? I don't want to say it's very high, but I will say the motivation's there. Think about it. Who is Islam's #1 head honcho enemy they want to end? Tommy Robinson. Because they see him as the biggest truth teller against Islam. They see him as a threat to their attempts to bring over a worldwide caliphate. Because that is ultimately their goal. It's the goal of the Muslim Brotherhood. It is the goal of Al-Muhajirun. It is the goal of Al-Qaeda. It is the goal of ISIS. It is the goal of the calligraphy. I think it's something to do with calligraphy, but they've basically got this book symbol. And then Arabic, which says prepare, and 2 crossed swords. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But there are so many groups that would be prescribed as T groups here, or sorry, in any other country. But for some reason, Keir the traitor Starmer has not done so here. Says everything, doesn't it? And of course, the lefties don't like the idea of truth speakers like myself, like Martuzzi, like Paul Thorpe, like Daddy Unfiltered, like Gobster Talks Shite, or Doc Talks About Things, or whatever his name is, Guardian Mose, Godfrey Bloom, Jim Davidson, just to name a few. They don't like what we have to say. We basically go against the government narrative. We go against everything the leftoids have been trying to brainwash the 90% into. Because that's what they want at the end of the day. They don't want us with our eyes awake and able to see the world unfiltered for what it truly is. They want us to put the blinders back on so we can't see shit. And I do firmly believe that there is a very, very real possibility of an attack during this rally. It is the biggest rally that Tommy Robinson will ever have brought to light. What better time? And I'm trying to say this in the way of, not that I want it to happen, but rather, if I was a lefty, what would I be doing in their shoes? If I was an Islamic extremist, what would I want to do in their shoes? I don't want it to happen, but I'm trying to think like them right now. Yes, I know, flush my brain, purge all thoughts and all that shit. But the cold bitter truth is, the lefties are not going to act like that. They're not going to be like, oh, no, you know what, forget it, we won't do that to them. Because we've seen what they're capable of. They tried to assassinate Trump. They successfully assassinated Charlie Kirk. They were glorifying his death, glorifying the violence against Trump. They've had a black man butcher Iryna Zerustka. God rest her soul. Do you honestly think, with that and the 7 dead AFD members, do you honestly think they're going to stop there? Of course they're not. This oligarchy is not just confined to the United Kingdom. It's worldwide. There are oligarchies in every fucking country. And we have to remember, they all have the same collective hive mind. They effectively think the same damn thing. Get rid of the so-called far right. Get rid of the working class. Get rid of any dissidents who threaten the Fabian society. Which, ironically, their logo is literally a wolf wearing sheep's clothing. Which, I probably need to do some digging into the Fabian society, as that's all I know about them, quite frankly. But that may be a point of contention that I have to do later down the line. It may be that I have to read up on the Fabian society, and something tells me I better have a sick bag ready. The bottom line is this. There is a very, very real possibility that there could be a very serious attack in London. And I would be lying if it made me feel like I shouldn't go. Like, I'll admit, the mere idea of this shit terrifies me. The fact that I might go down to London, I might go down there in one piece, but I might be coming back to Norwich in several. That thought has crossed my mind many fucking times this last week. Well, not so much the getting killed bit, but more the feel like the peaceful protests aren't working, but I will still respect it out of principle, like I've always done. I may think that these peaceful protests have not really paved the way, as it were, for us to basically get our country back. I feel more like that it's just given Keir the traitor Starmer the opportunity to look out of his window and go, ha ha, look at those twats over there. But obviously recently, with the AFD getting 7 people dead, Iryna Zerustka, Charlie Kirk, and the very real possibility that we could end up attacked, yeah, that thought's crossed my mind quite a few times over the last, I should say, day or two. It's a terrifying thought. One that would put the fear of God into almost any man or woman, or in my case, both. But in the end, what was it Tommy Robinson said again? In order to achieve what we have to be prepared to do one of 2 things. Get killed or go to jail. We all have a choice to make on Saturday, 2 days' time. I've been slacking, I will admit. Yes, beat me over the head with a bottle now, I get it. I have been slacking as far as planning my I can't even get the words out now. As far as planning my route to London is concerned. But I will be doing that over probably late evening tonight, Friday afternoon, because obviously if I want to get down there, I'm going to need to make sure that I've got a plan. Another department. Stroke number 3. Then a plan B. Fuck. And I was thinking that the 2 strokes were going to be all. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's your hat trick. But I'm telling you right now, we should be prepared for the worst. It is a very, very scary world we live in. And the left are going more mask off with each passing day. I don't want to discourage people from going to London. But what I will say is make sure you bring stuff that is legal, that you can carry, like a flashlight or something. Think about it. A lot of people discredit flashlights, as they don't feel like it does much other than see in the dark. But trust me, you shine it in someone's eyes, it'll fucking hurt their eyes. And it will give you that moment you need. Or if all else fails, you can get certain flashlights and you can basically use it as a defensive tool. It's not illegal to do so, although obviously check the laws. Because, as I said, I don't want to advocate for doing stuff that's against the law. Let me be absolutely clear on that. But it does beg the question, should we start bringing stuff to defend ourselves? It reminds me of that Dundean girl who had that knife and the hand axe and was using it to scare off the invaders who were trying to harass and potentially violate her sister. And yet the Dundean girl gets arrested while these invaders were not. As said, very scary world we live in. I really hope justice is served, of course, I can't stress this enough, against that racist scum that murdered Iryna Zerustka, and of course the transgender, or whoever the fuck it was, that butchered Charlie Kirk. We need to see some justice for those two. America will be flying their flags at half-mast until Sunday. I want to see that we can fight back. Saturday is our last chance to peacefully resolve the issues we have in the United Kingdom. I know people aren't going to like me saying that, but that is the cold, bitter truth. Between all the events that have happened now, there is no doubt in my mind, if this does not secure peace, a general election, or the resignation of Keir the traitor Starmer and Shabana Mahmood and David the Archbishop of Racism Lammy, I don't know what will. And those people are a danger to this country. They are a danger to this society. They are actively destroying us. And so are the left. The fight back is on. We mustn't bow to their cowardly methods. But we must always be prepared to defend our country, our fellow Englishmen and women, and our children with our lives.